Hey guys, um, welcome to a new segment that I'm putting into the channel called Transforming the Game. Uh, I have recently come into possession of several books for the, get this, oh, sorry Gary, that's right, I have my own Gary. Transformers role-playing game. I have the core rule book, I have the Decepticon Directive, which is the Decepticon source book, and the Enigma of Combination, which is combiners. With me here today is, well, Gary. He's from accounting. And we got Lucario, as usual. Go ahead and say something.
Hello.
Well, we figured the first series of videos we are going to do with this saga are a unique combiner thing that we've been talking about for several years. They are an elite commando squad built by Shockwave, based out of Florida. We technically called them the Swampticons. And today, we're going to make their leader Death Roll. Death Roll has an alt form of an American, an American alligator. The thing is, he's 30 to 50 feet tall in bot mode.
15 to 30. Huge classification.
Huge classification is 15 to 30 in bot mode.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I sit corrected. So let us get started here. We got a character sheet. I got some notes. Let's roll with it. So anyway, we're going to start off by picking some influences. Now, influences are kind of like, for Dungeons and Dragons, your background stuff. And in this case, and the cases of all 5 members of this group, we're choosing one particular item. So if you have a copy of said Enigma of Combination, on page 22, you'll see the influence Gestalt member. And yes, Gestalt's the true pronunciation. So, Gestalt member. What this does is your body and spark have what it takes to convert into a combined form. You gain one of the following general perks, which is like a feat in D&D. Gestalt Combiner or Matched Combiner. Matched Combiner is like Power Masters, Headmasters, Target Masters, or Power Links from the Armada saga. 2 or 3 part combiner. We're building a full fiber. Anyway, what's so special about that is we're going to take, like I said, Gestalt member. Okay, and that gives us the perk Gestalt Combiner, which is on the back sheet here. Now, we're taking a specific version of it, because every time you take the perk for a character, you have to give the name of the combiner, in this case Everglades, and you get a particular functionality added to the bot, which increases the big guy. In this case, we're choosing Commander. So when we go to do the stats for the big guy, by the way, that is video number 6, the stats for the big guy. We'll go ahead and Sending Lucario on a little mission for me here real quick. So when we stat out the big guy, you'll see what we're talking about. Anyway, guys, I also gave him what is called a hang-up. Kind of like a flaw in certain games. Ain't that right, Gary? Yeah. Coming with me from now on. Anyway, I gave him the bad temper one. I like to write down the book and page numbers that I get my sources from. Set Lucario after my readers. There. That is more like it. Now, bad temper flaw can be found in the book called The Decepticon Directive, page 31. Ah, Gary, no! I'll check see if Gary's still visible on camera.
Gary's definitely still visible on camera.
Okay, I'm just making sure. Because Gary's cool.
Yeah, he's on camera.
Now, get back in here. Bad temper says this. You have a rage inside you that could barely be contained. The turn after you fumble, in other words, you goof up real bad, for any reason, you get no free actions of any kind and a -1 downshift on all skill tests until the end of that next turn. Alright. Like I said, we got his Gestalt Combiner, so we know now he's going to be part of Everglades. He's actually the body and the head.
As of any main leader of a team.
No. Believe it or not, there is one big combiner, and you fans out there can tell me which one it is in the comments, that does not have its leader in the headpiece. Would you like to take a guess, Lucario?
Which one?
As to which one? And the weird part is, he's the right leg.
Aerial bots?
No, good old Superion. Silver Roll is the chest.
Galvatron.
No, same reason. It's Devastator. Scrapper, the leader, is the right leg.
Huh.
If you got it right, if you have to comment about that and got it right, I'm going to like it. Anyway, we're going into his origin, which is like his chassis build. The origin for this is called Monstrosity. Only because I still don't have Renegade Studios' book, the Techno-Organic Secrets, which gives beast formers and stuff of that nature. So, he gonna look like a gigantic alligator from space.
Well, actually, the Monstrosity does list the Dinobots, so no, that is the official beast form until the Techno-Organic.
Arachnids, Headstrong, and Sinner Twin were the examples.
You're right. However, if you read the chassis, it's down near the bottom.
The configuration stuff?
Yeah, the configuration stuff. It says stuff like dragons and Dinobots.
Oh, that stuff. Okay, never mind.
So they are official beast formers.
So here's how Monstrosity bounces out. Okay. He gets +1 to his strength essence. Okay, that's no biggie. And Renegade, thank you for designing this game. I really do appreciate it. Really fun to run. Really fun to build characters for too. So that's why we started this segment.
It's slowly becoming an addiction of mine to build characters.
It really is. Oh, Capcom! If anyone of you watch this, he built Blizzard Wolfang for Mega Man X6 in this. Anyway, back to. I'm just gonna make a little tally mark right there by strength to denote the freebie point there. Now, because I have a point there, I have to take a skill there. The skills they tell me I'm allowed to take are Brawn or Might. I chose Might. So fill in your first little dot. Yay! You do get your origin benefit, Tooth and Claw. You are driven by a predator's instinct when you give into your spark's nature. In your alt mode, your unarmed attacks are considered to be natural attacks that inflict sharp or blunt damage based on the attack. In other words, like a tail slap or bite down on somebody or claws, whatnot.
Depending on the alt mode and depending on the appendage.
Thank you, Lucario. Anyway, and they also get the accurate trait, which this game deals a lot with upshifts, downshift. There's plenty of videos here on YouTube that'll tell you about it. I'm here just basically to show you how much fun it is to build one of these guys. Alright. Your starting health is a 4. I'm writing it in there real light because we are going to change that.
Very quickly.
You have a 35-foot ground speed while in bot mode. When you are in your alt mode, on the other hand, for monstrosity, I'm going to write down origin name American Crocodile.
Also, he hates it when people call him an alligator.
He really does. That's what triggers his bad temper real bad.
It's hilarious.
Why don't you open up that text message I sent out earlier and give a direct read of a quote from him? All right. While I'm writing down some of this stuff. Some alt modes can be crude. You have a crew of 0 poop sticks. We are going to make him an extended.
A direct quote. I'm not a Primus damned alligator. I'm a crocodile, you filthy casual zoologist.
So there you go. You got a direct quote from Death Roll. I'm trying to figure out who in Hollywood I would like to have as the voice actor for this guy. Thinking gruff voice. Oh, now I remember. Jesse the Body Ventura. Give some good to the guy who served in Nam, right? And was also in Predator. Do we want to give him a swim speed in his crocodile mode, or do we want to give him on land?
Give him water at first, because we can give him the ground later.
Okay. Okay. Bring him down here. Wait. And I do believe you can have a range of 10 feet as huge, right?
I do believe it is 10 feet, yes.
Okay, that was an important question on my part. Basically, this thing, if I were to put him on a grid, is normally in bot mode 3x3 in a grid, so 15 by 15 feet. The alt mode is going to be a little stuck, like a 2x4 on a regular battle grid.
Considering it's a crocodile.
A little longer than he is. the other way around. It's going to do 1 point of sharp damage with the maneuver trait. Oh, not trait, but get my drift. It has the ability to go ahead and say, "Nah, we're going to damage. Go ahead and grapple somebody, or trip them, or something of that nature." Okay. Now we're going into the important part. Your role, which is, if you were looking at it from a D&D terminology again, is your class. And unlike other games,
Can't multi-class.
you can't multi-class. I mean, there's a perk / feat that allows you to take a feature from the core class that you don't belong to.
But it's not the same.
But it's definitely not the same. You can't like multi-class him.
Which is sad, but also understandable.
Now, I did choose already. He is going to be a field commander. And you get your focus or subclass in this game right off the bat, level 1 stuff. I've chosen for him team leader. And this is from the Enigma combination book. So I decided to build all of these Swampticons at base level 8. Okay? Okay. Is that right? Is that right? So let's go in here and write down what we need from there. First and foremost, we'll grab the subclass because it's higher up on the stack. Ooh, field commander. That's mode master. Field commander, team leader. Increase your social by 1. And then give yourself training in animal handling, performance, or persuasion. I chose persuasion. See, unlike most what side he would have been on in the normal war, Decepticon.
No matter the faction.
Unlike most, he actually cares about his teammates. He views them as a band of brothers. So, talk people into doing things. Woot and woot. Now that will go up again when he hits level 10. But we won't worry about any of that right now. Instead, we will go over to Core Rulebook. Starting on page 62 for Field Commanders. You start out, there's just straight level 1 stuff right now. Strength and social, 1 more each. Boom. Boom. I am again going to boost might on that one. And I'm going to boost his persuasion again. That done. That said, we are now off to Never Never Land for the rest of his points based yonder here. Level 2, gets another point of social. And I decided to put that one into deception. Level 3 gets him a speed, which I put into targeting. Better shooty bits. Level 4 gained the toughness. I mean, strength, anyway. And there, I move that into conditioning. Now, conditioning and initiative are the only two skills that don't have any specializations in them. And here's why. Conditioning increases your health, and initiative is just, how fast you move in combat. So by putting the conditioning up by 1, we just made him 5 hit points. Now, you're going to ask Lucario, combat in this is gritty AF.
It makes you feel like that every single action matters. Because one moment you're at full health, the next moment 20% of it is gone immediately.
And it happened to him, he knows.
No, that was 50%.
Ouch.
3 out of 6.
Yeah. Anyway, at 5th level, he gains another social. That one went into deception. 6th level, gained another smarts. First smarts. I put that into alertness. Level 7 went into speed. Because they give you a chart that you have to follow for your score increases. And I put that into targeting as well. And then, last but not least, level 8 gave us one more into strength, which I put another point into conditioning, thus making him 6 health.
Hey!
Okay, at this point, you got your nuts and bolts minus one thing. For level 1 build, you get your class, role, focus, and if you have one for your origin, there's that. Stat increases. Then you get 12 more points to distribute. So what I did to distribute those points is I put 3 more points into strength, bringing his total to a 7.
Considering he's an American Krakow.
I increased might to a 3, and I gave him a specialization in close combat blade. You'll find out when we get to that section why I did that. I put 4 more points into speed, which gives him a 6. I went ahead and put targeting up to 3, with specialization shotgun.
Considering.
Again, we will cover that. And an initiative of 2. When you specialize, it's like taking a point in a skill. Doesn't cost any extra. From there, I put 2 more points into smarts, making it a 3. Which both of those points also went into alertness. And then social, I put 3 more points into, giving him a total of 7. And those went 1 point into persuasion, 1 point into deception, with a specialization in disguise. Meaning it's a little thing he can do in his alt form, like a normal crocodile, make himself look like a log. It's like, I'm here, but I'm not.
Please don't look at me for too long and notice any details like eyes.
Lucario is not wrong. Now, going in here on this chart, he did get what is called a general perk at level 4 and level 8. This is where we apply those. Level 4, we have to go back to the Enigma of Combination book. Yes, I am just building this thing right here in front of you. It's how I do. Now, this particular perk / feat, if that's what you want to call it, that's fine. It's called Voice of Primus. You can find it on page 41 of Enigma of Combination. But I'm going to read to you right here, right now. Prerequisite to getting this is you have to be a huge size or larger. Which, Death Row here is huge. He good.
He's absolutely huge.
I'm going to read the thing to you here. When you speak, everyone listens. Even if they don't want to, they cannot help but feel the weight of your words. First, you can be heard clearly, if you wish, up to half a mile away. Second, you can attempt a difficulty 12 persuasion skill test, and I will explain that here in a bit, to lend assistance to any ally that can hear your voice. Up to a half a mile away of lend assist. It's basically giving advantage on like the help action in D&D.
It's basically, you got this, bro.
Finally, as your standard action in the turn, you can attempt an intimidation or performance skill test against the target's willpower defense. I did not give him any points in intimidation or performance. Probably my B. If you succeed it, you deal 1 point of psychic damage or impose the frightened condition on them for 2d2 rounds.
And let's be honest, who wouldn't look at American Crocodile and scream, "Holy crap!"
So as he levels up, he will get points into intimidation and performance. Guaranteed. And our second, the level 8 one, comes to us from the core rulebook. If you give me a moment here, I'll turn right to the page that we need. Okay. We are looking for core rulebook number 111, Rapid Attack. Now, what this does is, if you're using an attack that requires finesse, might, or targeting, you have at least a D6 in proficiency in, which our boy here does. You are well versed in using non-integrated weaponry. When you attack with a weapon in an external hardpoint, aka your hands, you can spend 2 of your free actions to make an additional attack with the same weapon 1 time each turn. Now, to explain action economy here, our boy here has a speed of 6. It gives him a standard action, a movement, and 4 free actions. Yo. He knows what he do. Anyway, we have a few other things we have to write down here real quick, and then we can go into the fun stuff. Like his languages. What he speaks. So, going back here to page 30 of Enigma of Combination for Team Leader, he gets an ability called On My Mark for level 1. What On My Mark does is when you give orders to your team, they are invigorated to see you following alongside them. If you perform the same action or act in the same way as your command given with the issue command roll perk, which you get from the core rulebook, which we'll go there next. Your allies following the command will get a +2 to the chosen defense or roll the associated skill test with an edge, which is advantage. Level 3, you get the ability I Got You. You're always there for your team, ready to pick them up when they fall or boost them up when they are running on empty. Starting at level 3, you can always lend assistance to your teammates if they are within 60 feet. Additionally, once per round, you can burn an energon point, which we'll go on to that soon too, to give your teammate an upshift 1 on any skill test. This can be performed even when it is not your turn, and that is the clinker. Normally, abilities like that can only fire off on your turn. We found a way to do it
at instant speed.
At instant speed for Magic the Gathering players. Okay, next item on forbids not like that, like this. Which is also found on page 30 of the Enigma of Combination. You often lead by example. Upon reaching level 6, when a teammate within 60 feet rolls a skill test, you can ask them to reroll any or all of the dice involved, though they must accept the second result. If you do this, you must attempt a skill test using the very same skill that was re-rolled on your very next turn, if it's possible. If it's not, you don't get your move action for the turn. Yikes. So that said, that done, let's move that over here. We're going back to core rulebook. Starting page 64. I have figured, considering he's always been there for his brothers in arms, he will get the Cybertronian class role perk, Never Forsaken. And whenever I'm writing down these things, I always write down a page in the rulebook. That way I can go ahead and reference it at any given time. Once per scene, which is like once per fight, whatnot. When an ally no further away from you than your fastest movement in your alt mode takes damage, you can burn an energon point to move adjacent to that ally, converting if you need to, and take the damage for them instead.
To sum it up, get down, Mr. President!
Yeah, the leader does a get down, Mr. President. even if the attack would not normally penetrate your defenses. That's the catch. It'll if it hit your person you're trying to protect,
Well, yeah,
it's going. You're taking the damage instead.
Well, yeah,
straight.
it makes sense because you're leaving yourself vulnerable to the attack by taking the attack for them. It's not like you're gonna get in front of the bullet and then, you know, block the bullet. No, you have a moment of vulnerability.
Next ability up, issue command, which that ties into your on my mark. Many of your allies trust your commands more than their own instincts. As your movement, you can issue a command granting allies who follow your command an upshift 1 to a skill test or a +1 bonus to a defense based on certain circumstances. And they have a whole list of them here. You set the terms and the bonus allies receive. This bonus lasts until the beginning of your next turn. The ones they give here are fire! Allies who attack with ranged weapons get an upshift 1 on their targeting skill tests. Well, not necessarily just targeting. Hold your fire. Allies who don't attack with a ranged weapon get an upshift 1 on alertness skill tests. Hold the line. Allies who don't move on their turn get a +1 to their toughness defense for the turn. What is that? Allies who roll smart skill tests to identify quote unquote that gain an upshift 1 on the skill test. And it's a trick. Allies get a +1 to cleverness against the target creature's abilities. Please note, everyone do your thing is not a command. And your game master or storyteller, in my case, because I run my games cooperative storytelling, can reject a command for being too general. The next ability you have for a field commander is called Prepare for War. If you want peace, you need to be ready to fight for it. When you roll for initiative and are not surprised, you have advantage on initiative checks. For a field commander! Okay, next up we have Irrefutable Order. Even your enemies respect your authority. Starting at level 2, as a standard action, you can make a persuasion skill test against a target whose level is no higher than your own. On a success, you give that target a one-word order such as halt or flee. As long as the order does not put the target in immediate harm, violate one of the target's core beliefs, and can be accomplished with a move action, they use their move action to follow the command to the best of their ability on their next turn. So take that in your pipe there. Next one we're going to talk about is Sync Up. Starting at level 5, once per turn, when an ally attacks and misses a target within your range, you can immediately attack the target, even if it is not your turn. So, behold, Field Commander has a lot of not on my turn stuff that they can do. Next, the last one we get to talk about is called Stoic. Your statuesque presence inspires others. Starting at level 7, as your move, you can stand tall for all to see. You take a penalty to evasion defenses up to a -3 and can't defend with toughness. In other words, tanking the shots until the beginning of your next turn. Your allies each gain a number of free actions equal to the penalty you took on their next turn. Awesome, but you're going to get hurt. Okay. So that said, that done. Lucario, could you get in that and dig out 2d6? They have to be different colors. A d4 and a d20. Because we're getting ready to go into
The fun stuff.
the fun stuff. We're going to go ahead and get Death Roll here his languages first. First of all, he has to speak Cybertronian, the native tongue of all Transformers. Then he knows English. Come on, this guy grew up around Epcot. He can't. If he doesn't know English, there's a problem. He also knows Creole. So, yeah, he does some traveling. And then he has this other language I know called Parcel. In case you ever never heard anyone say something about parcel-tongued MFers, he can speak to reptiles.
Just like how there's a variant of it called.
There is a variant of the language called Feesh. Feesh.
If you're not saying it like it, you're not pronouncing it right.
If you... Yes, he just did pimp name Slipback on the freaking name of that. Anyway, his character in my campaign for Teacher Mook, a.k.a. Cobra, his game club, he's playing a Sharkticon named Bloodbath. And he has that as a language. So he can speak to all marine life. Believe it or not, guys, that includes seagulls. And yes, they do say variants of the word mine.
Frankly, it's the only word I've heard so far.
Now, we're going to go into gearing up our boy. In this game, it works a little differently than normal. You have to prove yourself to be able to keep your weaponry. In this case, homie's got a shotgun. Okay? This is all found in your core rulebook. I'll get you turned to this section. Shotgun stats can be found on page 121. Okay? Here's how we're going to work modifications to this thing. To go ahead and do your upgrading on this here, here's what I want to have built into the shotgun. We're going to get a modular standard weapon. Let me go ahead and get to that upgrade and read it to you guys so you know what I'm talking about. Choose a standard weapon. When wielding a weapon with a modular standard weapon upgrade, the weapon counts as both the original weapon and the new one. For example, a rifle upgraded with a modular close combat blade can be used as either a rifle or a close combat blade without needing to switch weapons. So this is why we gave him close combat blade and shotgun. Now, it is a standard upgrade, so I don't have to roll for this one. It's absolutely, positively free of charge. I'm going to mark that one down. That is the only free of charge one he gets. The way I run my games is simple. Level 1 at character creation, you have 3 requisition rolls. You'll get 1 every time you level up, and 1 every time you go on a mission. I'm just going to deal with the level up ones. So 3 plus another 7, he has 10 requisition rolls. And I did write down everything I needed for this. So we're going to start by trying to get that shotgun and ammo feeder. Now how this works is, come down to targeting, automatically start with a D20. any dice you have labeled in there, you would normally take just the highest one. I'm going to take the highest one. However, because he is specialized in shotgun, get every dice underneath it. That'll be my D4. I do not have a coin, so I'm not going to do heads, tails calls. I'm going to do odds, evens on this one. Odds is 1, tails is 2. Evens. So you roll it all. In that case, that is going to be a grand total of an 11, which he needed a 15 for. We're down 1. We're going to try... we have another standard itemization we're going to put on this thing to double the range of the shotgun. It's a scope. Standard to standard is 0. Let's try a different upgrade this time. We're going to go for amphibious. What this does mean, it means he can use this thing on land or in water, no penalties. Melee underwater, you suffer a 3 downshift.
That's ranged underwater.
That's ranged underwater is a 3 downshift?
Yeah, if you don't have a swim speed or it doesn't have the aquatic or amphibious trait with melee, it's a freaking snag.
There.
Which means disadvantage.
Thank you.
Trust me, I researched all this thanks to the fact that I'm an all-terrain vehicle.
We're going to go ahead and roll this check now. He only needs a 10.
Dang. There it is.
No, it ain't. That's the D2.
Uh-oh.
Wow, come on. Lucario, give me a different D20 out of that bag, please. So we're going to try to get the deadly aspect put on this thing, which increases the damage. Still only need a 10. 14 on the D20. That counts. So it has its deadly. Now we're going to add tasing, which turns the whole thing to electric, which gives upshift 1 on all attacks.
Isn't tasing melee?
Remember modular. Kind of both. Tricky.
Hey.
Again, this was only needed a 10. That was an 18 on the D20 and a 4 on the D4, which is a critical hit.
Might want to explain critical hits.
Basically, if you get the max on one of your your lower dice and succeed on a skill check, which this did, it's called a critical success. In this case, when doing requisition rolls, I make it so you don't burn a requisition roll. So he still has 8 checks remaining to get amphibious and ammo feeder. So we're going to go after amphibious right now. That's, believe it or not, there's a 6 on the D6 and 4 on the D20 for a 10. He only needed a 10. That is actually a critical success. So we have 8 tries to get the ammo feeder built in on this thing, which all that does is eliminate the reload functionality of the shotgun. $12 and $5. We have his armament. It's done. I will make reference to this on the back of the second sheet. I'm going to have to come up with a name for this thing. I'm going to be honest with you. Never got this far. But he still has 8 requisition shots. He's not going to use them yet. However, we are going to go over here back to...
I was going to say, get the other traits you need, like...
Those are all the traits he needed.
Tasing.
Got it.
Amphibious.
Got it. Deadly.
What about the
Scope.
ammo feeder?
Got it. The critic.
Nice.
Anyway, we're going to come back over here and we're going to get some more stuff. We're going to get him some armor. Now, he was able to use all ballistic and melee weapons. Which, by the way, shotguns are ballistic. Close combat blade, that's a melee weapon. 2 for 1.
No.
And he can use limited armor capabilities. Now, I do a house rule that I'll explain it when we get to the one that we have to worry about this with. Limited armor capability. He's going to take a static slide inhibitor. It's light plating added to your chassis to deflect physical blows, while small electrostatic generators create an invisible buffer against certain energy-based attacks. You get a +1 deflective bonus to toughness attacks. And anyone who attacks with the energy trait, and there's a legit energy trait now, not just, what we had in the original core rulebook, as well as laser, they suffer a downshift 1. So, explaining downshift, say you are proficient, and you're up to a D2. That's a normal skill check for you, right? Right. Well, say you have downshift 1. What that means is your D2 goes out the window, you're back down to just a D20. Let's say you have upshift 1. Again, going with the initial go here of just D2 representation. You upshift 1, boom, you get to add that D4 in. There. Just making note of it. Now, the last piece I gave him is a modification to said static slide inhibitor. It is found in the Decepticon source book. Did I write down a page number for that? Yes, I did. Page 76. This is where we get into that house rule. For an armor like, for example, the one I'm going to take here, Plated Carapace, if it has a prerequisite of an origin, it is considered to be a standard rollout for that particular origin. In this case, this has a prerequisite of Insecticon or Monstrosity only. So I gave it to him. Which in bot mode gives him +2 plating bonus to toughness. Which, while he's in alt mode, is a +4. Now we get to go ahead and do this little thing called calculate his defenses. In both bot and alt. If I can get it up off the table, there we go. So what you do is you take your essence score goes into the essence box. Also, Homie here starts out with 3 points of Energon. Very important for later on. We'll talk about the Energoning when we get to episode 6, Everglades, the combiner. So they give you places for bonuses and anything you get from a perk. So the calculated defense is 10 plus your essence score plus any sort of armor or bonuses. In this case, dude has a 20 in toughness in bot mode.
22 in crocodile mode.
16 evasion, a 13 willpower. To calculate characters' energon, it's their lowest stat.
Unless you're a scientist.
And then it's just damn.
Energon to spare, good sir.
Energon to spare. We're just about right. So, like I was saying, cleverness of 17. Dude is smart. What do you expect? Dude calls Shockwave daddy.
Not in that way.
not in the perverted sense. So anyway, over here he gets an additional +2 to toughness in alt mode. So his 20 is actually a 22. There's no other changes to be made, so he's still in evasion 16, willpower 13, and cleverness 17. That is death roll. I'm not including pronouns on this one. There is a member of the team that is gender fluid, and there is also a female member. When we get to those two, we'll talk about them. Oh, by the way, Slither is the female.
Huh.
And Gex is the gender fluid.
Makes sense.
Just so you are all aware, Gex is a gecko. Slither is a Burmese python.
Florida.
Because, Florida. Skippy, who I think we're going to be doing next, is a frog. And then we also have Shellraiser. And that's where we're going to get into that scientist stuff that you were just talking about. He's an alligator snapping turtle medic. When they combine, they form Everglades. That's what they chose for the name. And this thing is said to be able to fight Devastator to a draw. That said, folks, that's our wrap up. I hope you enjoyed this little idea here. And if you do, give me a like, comment, subscribe. Be back another time with Skippy. Have a good one.